So we finally made it to the end of Wave 2. Fantastic. I've really been pleased with this wave as a whole, to be honest. But we're now with Helena Shaw. So what we're going to do today is take a look at this final figure from Wave 2, and despite what a lot of people think about this character from the movie, I'm making sure that I keep an open mind for the figure itself. And also, what we're going to be doing is building this second building artifact, so I cannot wait to build this Shankara shrine. I think the pictures of it have looked awesome. It looks so cool up alongside the Ark of the Covenant and later the Grail table as well. Really looking forward to having all three of these artifacts eventually. So if either of those interest you, let's get into it now. So hello there, I'm Chris the Geek figure fan, and today what we're doing is we're taking a look at the final figure from Wave 2 of the Indiana Jones Adventure series. So this figure is Helena Shaw from Dial of Destiny. This is a character played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge in the movie. But also, as I said in the intro, we're going to be taking a look at the build and artifact as well, and that is something that I'm super excited about doing. What we'll do first though is we'll whack this box on display and we'll take a look and see what we think. Yet again, exactly the same look as the other boxes from this range. We've got the photorealistic renderings of the character on the front and back, along with a photo of all 5 of the figures from the wave on one side, and my personal favourite, the poster style imaging on the other side. Can't say that this is one of the more exciting poster style artworks, but again it's from a character that we have less emotional connection to, and the images that they've chosen are from, not the most exciting parts of the movie really. A picture of her walking across a bridge doesn't evoke any excitement or emotion in me really. Also on the back is a photo of all of the accessories that come with this figure. Not that there are many. But let's get her out of the box, let's get her in hand, and we'll have a look at articulation, etc. Yeah, so she strikes a good figure at the start. Let's have a look at articulation. She's got good neck movement. There's nothing restricting her neck there. Probably one of the best head movements out of any of the figures really. Likewise with wing movement in the shoulders, that's excellent. There's a single hinge in the elbows. Excellent torso movement, again no restrictions. Good movement at the hips. Good movement at the tops of the legs. Single knee joint. Her ankle moves up and down, restriction free as well. So there isn't a lot on that figure that prevents movement, which is obviously a good thing when you want to start posing. But let's also take a quick look at the accessories that come with it. So she's got a smaller rucksack than Indy that I quite like the look of. It's got good detail on it. But then we also have the torch. It's an identical torch to the torch that came with the older Indy figure that we reviewed last week. Poor showing for accessories, really. And then also we get the front to the Shankara shrine. And you can see on the front here, I'll just point out, there are 3 recesses that you can fit the 3 stones into. Let's get her on display and we'll have a quick chat about what I think of this figure. Now we've got her on display firstly here without her accessories, but a really poor showing of accessories on this figure, to be honest. I'm always disappointed with, and I know I brought it up in Wave 1, these figures that are more ancillary characters, that are supportive characters, that just don't have the draw of accessories. If you know it's a character that's not going to sell as well, I would love it if you tried your hardest to make it a more enticing figure, a more exciting prospect by having interesting and different accessories in it. But I will say that I'm really impressed with the head sculpt on this figure. I think it's a really good likeness to Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And I think it's quite detailed as well, because she's got that kind of almost gaunt look to her, very angular cheekbones, and I think it comes across in this smaller 6-inch figure quite well. And I like the hair as well. Never a fan of longer plastic hair. I think sometimes it can be done well, but very often it can look incredibly stilted and fake. But I think they've done a good job with this one. I think there's good definition to it. And likewise with the clothing, I've only seen the film a couple of times, but this is kind of the outfit that I remember her wearing. So I'm impressed that they have brought that to life quite as well as they have on this figure. I think when you look at her silhouette though, there is just something about the way that, the posture that's created, the way that she stands, the way that her clothes create a shape that just doesn't sit right with me. I can't even really explain it, but there's a look to her shape that just feels odd. I don't know if it's that the white shirt that comes down kind of means that you lose a bit of definition of her body shape in it, because they're trying to hide the seam between, the seam on the torso. I'm not really sure. I don't hate it, but, the look of her silhouette doesn't wow me. And to be honest, considering the number of accessories, I think this is probably going to be a reasonably quick review. I don't think she's a character that many people are going to want unless they're looking to complete the build an artifact. From what I can tell from the internet, she's not a particularly well-liked character amongst some sections of the Indiana Jones fan base. And I think that's a bit disappointing. But, everyone's entitled to their own opinion on that, and I respect people's opinion on it. What I would say with regards to the accessories is they are done well. I think the use of the same torch, whilst probably practical, feels a little bit cheap, like I've been cheated a little bit. I wouldn't have felt quite as bad with them reusing the same torch if there were other accessories in here as well. But when 50% of her accessories are also in another figure, that frustrates me a little bit. The backpack, however, looks really good and sits well on her back, and I think the detail on it is excellent. I really like the impression of leather that they are giving with this backpack, and I like the detail of there being other items that sort of poke out of it as well. It is really impressive. It doesn't open in the same way that the Indiana Jones one does, but I do like that there's a little bit of rope peeking out as well from the side. And the shape of the backpack, I don't know why, but it kind of gives me images of it was called like a camelback, but that smaller backpack that cyclists use to have like water container in there and a little straw that would go down the strap and they would, drink out of on long cycle journeys. That's kind of the impression that the shape of this backpack gives me. As the thumbnail says though, I am adamant that this will be as big of a peg warmer as any figure that we've had in this range so far. Although there's potential for Wave 3 to trump that. People just don't have the emotional connection to this figure that they do to others. And I honestly think that if they'd have included more Kingdom of the Crystal Skull figures and less Dial of Destiny figures, they would have sold better as well. I think you could have had Indiana Jones and Voller from Dial of Destiny, and that's probably all we would have needed. The hero and the villain, I'd have been fine with that. But I also get that I understand that they want to capitalise on the new movie, however poor of a decision that was. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say on this. It's fine. If you need to get the Shankara stone, build an artifact accessory, then go ahead and get it. And I think she will look good next to the older Indy. But as a figure itself, I think it's pretty underwhelming. I'm not a massive fan, if I'm honest. The articulation is fine, the figure is well made, but it's as boring and bland an Indiana Jones figure as we've received so far, in my opinion. One last thing that I do want to point out is I really love her boots. I think the boots look great. But that's all I can say, really. I think we should just move on to the build an artifact, because that's what I'm really looking forward to. So let's start by putting this bad boy together. I think this is going to be an excellent build an artifact. And so different. So I've got the 6 pieces laid out, which I'd separated into 7. So let's just put that back piece together again. I mean, that stands up pretty good on its own. I found on a dry run that putting the bottom jaw in first definitely helps. So let's start by clicking that bottom jaw into place, and then we can go ahead and fix the top part of the skull to it as well. They click in pretty easy. So let's put that there. I think that strikes a great silhouette already. Let's stick the snake headdress on. I love that. So glad that we finally got a snake somewhere in this range. So I've chosen to use the glowing... Oh, I've dropped one in. Okay, let's start again. Fat fingers and all. So I've chosen to use the glowing Shankara stones to place with the build an artifact, just because I think that glowing look creates sort of a better contrast with the darker look of the shrine itself, and it also means then that the stones that aren't shining, they can be used to pose with the figures as well. But there we go. It's pretty straightforward to build, just a little fiddly to get those stones on, but they sit alright in the recesses once they're there. I like the look of that. Let's get it on display. We'll take a closer look. Yes, I'll be honest, I absolutely love this. I might even like this more than the Ark of the Covenant, because I just think it's so interesting. I think the mottling on the stone outer side looks brilliant. I think it just gives that real tactile feel to it. It does look like it's made of stone, so I'm really impressive with that. I think the snake looks fine. I think it looks quite cool up there, but alternatively you could probably take the snake off and pose it with a figure and it would look just as good in that position as well. I just love the idea that they gave us 2 sets of stones. You know, Hasbro didn't have to do that, and I think it's just a really nice touch because, as I said before, the glowing stones look so good against the brown of the shrine itself, but it also then means that you've got the sort of more dulled brown stones, especially the one with the white lines on it, that you can then use to pose with Indy or with Short Round or any of the figures from Temple of Doom that we've gotten. So yeah, I really like this, and like I say, personally, I like it more than the Ark of the Covenant. I think the Ark looks great, but I just think this is something a little bit different, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, very pleased with the build and artifact. And if you are umming and ahhing, if you are unsure about whether or not to collect all 5 figures from this wave, I implore you to do it because this build and artifact is worth it. But that's wave 2 all over. Please hit a like on the video if you like this build and artifact. Let me know what you think, and also let me know in the comments as well. And also please consider subscribing to the channel because we've got another retail exclusive coming, the double pack of Brody and Belloc, which I'm super excited about. And then wave 3 will start to arrive within the next couple of weeks. So we'll have wave 3 coming out soon, and we can start looking at that. And then we can look back at the series as a whole because, let's be honest, I think the series is over after this. And if you need a reminder of what's included in wave 3, why not take a look at this video next? Thank you all for joining me today. Please take care. Thanks a lot. Bye bye now.